Chairs for a vinyl tanning ledge. We are in the process of putting in a vinyl pool with a tanning ledge covered with vinyl. The only chairs I can find online are about $600. Is it okay to just use a non-metal chair and maybe put a cover over the feet or some kind of covering for it? Do you have any suggestions? I was so excited to get a tanning ledge, but now I'm bummed that I'm having a hard time finding furniture, affordable furniture for it.
So there's really no good answer to this. I know the ledge loungers and things are a little more ideal for it. What I would recommend, and I think you can use, is certainly something that's non-corrosive. Oftentimes, and here's what we've seen with people with their sun tanning ledges, is they'll buy a really cool chair that has a plastic coating on it and it has little feet on it. They think, oh, that's going to be great. Well, the problem is the inside of that chair is actually metal, and you get water in there, it all rusts, and now they're wondering where these rust stains are coming from on the sun ledge. So first off, make sure if you buy something that's plastic, it's all the way through plastic. Second, what I would recommend is no types of chairs that have small pad footprints. Whatever it is, you need to disperse that weight, because you don't need that pressure in a small area, and you will damage the liner, and then you won't be happy with any of it. Best things, they do make some of those plastic loungers that are pretty inexpensive. They're layback loungers that have kind of a flat bottom, but make sure there's no ridges on the bottom. What you may have to do is you may have to modify and grind that down, and before you go and throw them in the pool and on the sun shelf and use them, is you're going to want to physically, and this may be something that you do every season, or if you're not taking them out all the time. If you are taking them in and out all the time, you may want to run your hand along the bottom of them as well, and just to make sure that if somebody bumped it and somebody threw it against something, that plastic could chip, or that plastic could kind of gouge a little bit, and it'll create sharp spots, and that will in fact cut that liner as well. So the liner is pretty durable, and it can handle a lot. However, I'm assuming this is probably either a steel understructure or it's a poured concrete understructure with a liner on top of it. There's a lot of pressure on that liner pushing against something so rigid, and while it can take puncture, it can't take a lot of wear and tear for a long period of time, especially if kids start playing on the sun shelf, someone's laying on a chair and you're pulling it. That's something people don't think about very often. If you're just dragging the chair around on the sun shelf, it's one thing, but if you have weight, someone's sitting on it, you're dragging, you're adding all kinds of frictions to that liner. A problem, I think. But find, as long as it's all plastic, I'll go back to that, and as long as the bottom of it is smooth, and some of the chairs that I've seen, the pretty cheap chairs, is it's just a molded plastic, and it has the rungs that the on the bottom, they're not even legs, it's just almost like a sled. And if it's plastic about this wide on each side, I think you'd be fine. What I still would recommend, though, is even if it's that, check all the edges, because nice sharp edges will cut through the liner. If you have to, you might need to grind it down. You might need to get a piece of sandpaper and sandpaper just to be safe. Brand new pool, last thing you want to do is cut the liner and have the expense of replacing it. And if it took you 5 minutes or 10 minutes extra to buy a piece of sandpaper or get an orbital sander out, or even a razor blade knife and scrape those edges down, it's probably the best thing to do. Or find one that's nice and molded where it's got a flat bottom and then they're rounded. I've seen them both ways. Take the precaution and then definitely enjoy it. We build sun shelves on all of our pools today, but that's the reason why we developed the concrete sun shelf, the hybrid pool, was to be able to not have the vinyl over. And I get most people are still doing vinyl over, which is fine. You just have to do precautionary stuff. On ours today, you're sitting on concrete, so it doesn't matter what you throw in there, you're not going to damage it. However, you still have the issues. If it's a metal, you're going to run some risk of corrosion and damage to everything. But look around. You don't have to spend tons of money, but you might have to modify. And then be diligent. I think that's another part of this, is don't willy-nilly throw them in and out of the pool. Make it a habit of being diligent with taking them out, storing them, putting them back, or at least inspecting them. Don't just throw them back in there, because that's the other thing, especially when you're not familiar with it, or someone comes over, or you have a party and you go inside and now there's 12 people want to put chairs on the sun shelf. You just have to be diligent in understanding which ones are going to work and which ones aren't.